Hey, what's up, guys? This is Ito Speaks, and in this video topic, I'm going to be talking about the top five greatest wide receivers of all time. Now, I got this request from a, a commenter in one of my previous videos that I had made, and he had asked me to make his top five greatest wide receivers of all time, and here it is. It'll be a quick video, not too much. Um, Before I get into the top five greatest wide receivers of all time, I just want to make some honorable mentions on other great wide receivers to, give my proper respects. They were great wide receivers, top 10, but they didn't quite crack my top five as, greatest wide receivers of all time. And I just wanted to go down the line right quick. And it's not too much, it's just a couple of wide receivers. And to any other wide receivers that I didn't put in, no disrespect for them, I just feel like these are the great wide receivers that I've seen over the course of my lifetime watching the NFL from I was able to understand the game as a little boy. And, and then I go into my top five and give my reasons why. So, again, for honorable mention, I want to say number one, Chris Carter. Great wide receiver, one of the best wide receiver. I say he's a top 10 wide receiver of all time. You could slot him in between 10 or 6, and I wouldn't argue and be wrong with that as well either. And then the next one I would say is Michael Irvin. Very close, very close. I had Michael Irvin very close as a top 5 wide receiver. That's why I wanted to give him an honorable mention in being in this list because he was this close. It's just I feel like the wide receivers that I'm gonna name is way better than him and more accomplished than him in his endeavor as a wide receiver. Even though they might not have a they might not have the accomplishment that he has. Now, my last honorable mention is Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald, one of the all-time great wide receivers that I've seen when he played for St. Louis Cardinals, playing for the game, and how that's been going. He had a great, illustrious career, one of the best hands of a wide receiver I've ever seen. Very poised, very respectful, and very mature wide receiver. He was great at his time in Arizona Cardinals, and he's played for a long time. Now I'm going to get into my top five. Now, granted, again, this is my top five greatest wide receiver of all time. And for anybody who disagrees, that's fine. If you do disagree, that's cool too. If you have your own top five wide receivers list, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know. So here it is. My first one is obviously Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice, number one wide receiver, one of the best hand, has great skills, great speed, and played for 49ers. One of the best wide receivers of all time from what I've seen, and he's not there hasn't been a player like him since to grace the football field and become as accomplished as him as a wide receiver. Hall of Famer, one of the best athletes that I've seen during his time when he was playing with the 49ers, and then he played a little bit with Oakland. But again, he's a game changer, and he could break the door open. He's went at it with the likes of Deion Sanders and etc., beating him on a lot of plays. If you're a rival with, if you're the greatest wide receiver and you're being a rival with the greatest cornerback of all time, then you already know you're going to be at least top of this list on number one. And that's why I have Jerry Rice on number one. Now, this is where it might get a little controversial because I already know how people are with going out where everybody is the census that Jerry Rice is number one. But I have number two as the greatest wide receiver ever is Terrell Owens. Now, I know most people would have Randy Moss at number two, but me personally, I have Terrell Owens as the second greatest wide receiver of all time because this guy was a game changer. He was a gamer. He has just as good enough stats as Randy Moss. Some might be better. And the records that he has in the NFL in terms of receptions, touchdowns, yards, etc., won't be broken for a while. And I feel like he's up there with Jerry Rice as the best wide receiver. The only thing knocks him down is lack of Super Bowl rings. his off the field issues, and sometimes on the field issues as well with quarterbacks, coaches, etc. And that's what kind of like knocks him down for a little bit. When it comes to the off the field issues, I'm excluding that from the list because that has nothing to do with it. Now, his on the field issues, his trouble with teammates, head coaches, and players, etc. Yeah, that has to count against you because it makes you look like a locker room cancer. But overall, when it was time to play on the field, he did that, and he did that exceptionally well. And I always respect T.O. because even when he was playing with the Philadelphia Eagles with Donovan McNabb going up against the Patriots, he dropped 120 yards and a touchdown, and he had a broken leg, and he still was playing great. That's a top 5 wide receiver of all time right there. Now, my third greatest wide receiver of all time is Randy Moss. Now, Randy Moss, one of the best athletes I've ever seen, greatest wide receiver, greatest hands I've ever seen. He gave so much to the game. When he was playing with Oakland, he had an amazing season when he played with the New England Patriots, and he had an okay career, okay season when he played with the 49ers. But in terms of him being number 3 all time, I just feel like Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens was a little bit better, just slightly better than him. Not too much of a gap. He's right there, but I just had T.O. and Jerry Rice better than him was. He made his name became a verb where somebody's going up for catch and you're trying to bat it down and the person catches over you, they're saying you got Moss. So for someone to say that you got Moss, his last name becoming a verb, that just shows how much of an impact he had on the sport and in the league as well. So I have Randy Moss number 3. Now, my number 4 greatest wide receiver of all time is Antonio Brown. Now, this is probably another controversial take right here. A lot of people don't like Antonio Brown for whatever reason, but I have him as the 4th greatest wide receiver of all time because he did so much at his time playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was an amazing athlete, put in the work, he grinded. He came all the way from his surroundings back in Miami and Liberty City to where he is now, and he played great. He has a Hall of Fame career. Now, if he's gonna get into the Hall of Fame, that's a whole nother story because of all the foolishness and off the field issues that he did while he was doing that. His time at the Oakland Raiders didn't end too well. He was trying to go to the New England Patriots to play with Tom Brady, and then that didn't go over well. But he ended up making it to play with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then after that, he ended up winning a Super Bowl championship ring with Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks, and that already solidified him as a Hall of Fame, even though he has a Hall of Fame career already. But he played great during his course of the time of Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. It ended sourly because of that last game against the Jets, where he took off all his padding and stuff like that. He threw his helmet and walked off the field and I guess essentially retired. But still, when taking all the off-field issues aside, when it comes to his play on the field, I have never seen a wide receiver that good like Antonio Brown. And that's why I have him as number 4 greatest wide receiver of all time. Now, my 5th and last wide receiver that I have as the top 5 greatest of all time is Calvin Johnson, Megatron. Big athlete, stout, strong, fast, could go up with anybody, has a dog in him. Played with the Detroit Lions for almost all his career. And granted, I wish he never played with that franchise. I wish he played with a more fruitful, better franchise that could provide him with a better opportunity to win. But over his course of playing with the Detroit Lions, I don't think he probably would have been higher on his list if he had more success in the playoffs or potentially won a Super Bowl or any type of awards. But nonetheless, he was a beast, and he was one of the greatest wide receivers I've seen. He was a matchup prone for anybody he was lined up against. And I still remember that game he went up against the Cowboys. He had a monster game where Matthew Stafford was just throwing him the ball and he was just catching everything. He had like over 300 yards receiving, and he was just unstoppable. And they had no answer for him. Double team coverage, safety at the top. nothing was stopping him. He was getting touchdowns, and he was a great athlete. He retired a little bit early because he felt like, what's the point of wasting his talents and his body if the team is not trying to actually win games? And he retired a little bit early because of that, and I don't blame him. I applaud him for that, because you have to do what's best for you, your body, and your way of life, your mental health overall. And that's just what you need to do, because overall, it's not, this sport of football, while it's providing you a great lifestyle and a way of living, is not something you want to do for 10, 15 years, especially if you're playing a high brutal sport that could possibly cause you body damage, possibly cripple you, or God forbid, even kill you. We all saw the Darvin Ham situation where he looked like he was lifeless on the field. So I know Megatron wanted to play longer, but also wanted to be successful. And his lack of playoff success, I don't even think he has a playoff win in his career. So the lack of success with the Detroit Lions what hindered him from being higher on this list. But nonetheless, he's still a great wide receiver to have on anybody's team. And that's my top 5 greatest wide receivers of all time. Again, it's my personal opinion. If you disagree, let me know in the comment section down below. And tell me your top 5 greatest wide receivers of all time list. And if it's different from mine, let me know. Tell me how it is. So this is Edo Speaks out. Peace.